up, everybody? Welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Winning in Life Without Losing Your Mind podcast. That weird hello is brought to you by my guest today, Nick Williamson, who is my brother-in-law in love.
Those
I'm
pauses
so
are awesome.
I'm so pumped to have him here. It's incredibly awkward. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so pumped to have him here. We're going to continue our conversation on confessions of Enneagrams, and Nick is a Enneagram 6, so we're going to continue that conversation with him today, get him to confess all sorts of stuff that makes him feel unsafe, because we know sixes love feeling unsafe. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in wherever you're listening. If you're listening to this on any audio podcast platforms, love for you to leave a 5-star review. Don't be stingy with your stars. And if you have any comments or questions for the show or any topics you'd like to see me cover, just go ahead and drop that in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you know every time we post a video or go live, and the chance that we do that. But we are here to help creatives know themselves, their process, and their teams so that they can create greater things together. What else do I need to talk about? Oh, on Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn and all the different places, you can find me at Dustin Peed. Or if you're interested in chatting about what you got going on, let's talk, dustinpeed.com. I think that's everything. All right, so we've been going through these Enneagram numbers. I'm not sure which ones have posted when yet. I don't really know the order that I'm posting these, other than I know that I did one, and I know at the time of recording this, the one that we did with my buddy who's an Enneagram 3 is about to come out as well. We're not really going in any order. It's just going to be like whenever I record these and whenever I get around to editing them. But today we're going to dive right in with an Enneagram 6, which happens, like I said, to be my brother-in-law. I rather treat him like a brother. We're diehard NASCAR fans. If you see that stuff on my bio page about want to be NASCAR spotter, he knows what that means. No one else does. Because what's a NASCAR spotter?
Yes. Spotter.
So anyway, Nick, so glad you're here, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. This is awesome and terrifying all at the same time. I was watching yours the other day and just letting it all out and hanging out, and I was like, all right, we're gonna just
We're doing
flush
this.
a lot out. It didn't help yesterday that I had therapy with a new counselor, and I threw a bunch of stuff at him. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna do this 2 days in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be a good emotionally dump week. It's gonna be a big old dump on our emotions.
They all
So Nick is a professional touring production tech. Is that the best way to put it?
I've got to the point where I just say audio engineer. It's just
There
easier.
you go.
People understand
Professional
that
touring
more.
audio engineer. There it is. He runs monitors for a country artist that you may have heard of, Mitchell Tenpenny. Great guys in that crew. Got to meet and hang out with them a little bit. And so, yeah, Nick has a really awesome job. But it also involves him interacting with a lot of people, both amazing and less amazing.
Yes.
So we're going to get into that a little bit and kind of how he interacts with those people. But before we get into that, I want to just read from Jackie Brewster. We've talked about her on any of these Enneagram shows. She is Enneagram with JB. You can find her enneagramwithjb.com or at Enneagram with JB on any of your socials. She has a really great resource, several great resources, honestly, but the one that I love to use the most is this 125 cards for self-awareness and connection. I'll try to hold it up to the screen here so you can see. But it's a really great resource. It's just kind of filled with cards that kind of cover all the different topics of Enneagram, some basic stuff, some relationship stuff, some things like that. But right here in the beginning, she has this little fold-out paper that gives you just a little brief overview of each Enneagram number. And so I thought, since we're talking about Enneagram 6 today, that I would go ahead and read that while Nick nods along in approval of everything that I'm saying. So sixes desire to know that they are safe. That was the joke about this being extremely unsafe for him. They are faithful, courageous, loyal, and effective. All things that I would use to describe Nick. However, they can at times also be cowardly and paranoid. Let's get into that. They look for security, support, and certainty in their relationships as well as in their environments. They seek approval from those in positions of authority and power, but they're excellent problem solvers and have a knack for anticipating life's dangers. Excellent problem solver and anticipating life's dangers. I mean, that just when I read that, I think my mental picture immediately goes to that squirrel from Ice Age. Is that how you feel a
The
lot?
scrat.
Yeah. What's that? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I have an acorn.
Just hanging onto that acorn.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
Initial reactions from hearing that overview about you as a 6.
It nails it. It just the affirmation for and seeking approval from other people like that are higher up than you and your peers. That one always nails it. And the troubleshooting and kind of uh basically solving problems that haven't occurred yet. Uh
That's not even a
like
problem. Oh, but it will
no.
be. You don't fix that
Honestly,
now.
but I will say in my job, so with as I'm an audio engineer for Mitchell, but I'm also his stage manager. So I'm making sure the stage is good to go for show and during show, and so I'm doing two things at the same time during a show and right before a show. Like I'm looking at the stage. Are there any obstacles? Are there any you know if his mic goes out, what's my backup plan? So I'm all about contingencies. Uh, so I mean, just last week there was an issue where I did something wrong, like I ran some cables incorrectly, that basically caused a problem to get us off stage quickly. Um, and so for 45 minutes of our set and beforehand, I was stressing out about these cables. There's nothing I could do about it during the show. Like those cables were going to be where they were, and I stressed about it the whole time. But I had a plan ready to go. Say, okay, as soon as we're done with our show, this is what we're going to do. So foreseeing that, troubleshooting it before it even happened, that's definitely a 6 thing, no doubt.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's dive right in here. What's something that most people wouldn't know about you as an Enneagram 6?
Well, just with the touring world, and I'm going to be referring a lot of that in this
Go
whole
for it.
thing because
That's your world.
it is my life. But what a lot of people don't know, and I've realized this recently, is they don't realize that I'm an introvert, which a lot of 6s are, because we like to be isolated a lot. We like to, and I don't mean that like in a negative way where just like leave me alone, but we definitely need our me time. I know you touched on that too. So with being around people all the time on the road, you're on your bus, you're in the green room, you're in catering, you're on stage, like you're just always with people. You naturally, for me, naturally become extroverted and silly, and you get comfortable with everyone. So you're always just, you know, between an 8 and a 10 as far as hyperness or excited or whatever. So when I tell people that I'm actually an introvert, they're very, very shocked. There's no way. Like you are definitely, always on the go, always hyper or whatever. And I'm like, actually, I'm not.
Yeah, you're just a
Um,
social 6 is what Enneagram coaches would say.
they would say what?
They would say you're a social 6.
Okay, yeah.
So there's self preservation, there's social, and I don't remember the other one. I'm going to butcher it if I try to get it right. But yeah, a lot of times with people like 4s, 5s, and 6s who tend to naturally lean towards being an introvert, when they have it's called your subtype. So when you have a subtype of social, meaning that you're a social, that's why you can have 3 Enneagram 6s in a room and all 3 of you can be completely different. It's because your subtypes are different.
Right.
And so there are some that are like self-preservation, where it's just they're always kind of on defense, and there's social ones that are always kind of opposite. They're on offense. Still doesn't change who you are and what your Enneagram number is. So for you, I would say, yeah, I would easily identify you as a social 6, because when you need to be on, you can be on without it being overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But yeah, you still are who you are, so you still need to have moments where you can retreat.
need that recharge. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
definitely.
So how do you view the world around you? Give me a like, if I could put on a pair of glasses with 6 lenses, how does a 6 view the world?
Oh gosh, it's so loaded. Uh, it's just a loaded question. Uh, I view the world as it's just moving super fast, and it's just impossible to keep up for me. I know that's like a vague and almost easy answer because I feel like a lot of people would answer it that way. But like as a six and being like that loyal type, you're just trying to find out, like trying to find that person or persons that you can support, that you can help them get to where they need to get to. And for me, even though I work with literally hundreds of people a day and I'm around, I usually will pick, I don't know, 5 to 6 people. Let's just say in this particular tour that we're on right now, 5 to 6 people that I want to like see or cater to them if they need anything. That's kind of how I view it. I know that that's not like the best answer. It's a very difficult question, honestly. Um, but yeah, it's just fast paced. But for me, I like to narrow down to
Your inner circle, your
the
people.
inner circle, my people, and really like get them to where they need to go before myself, which can definitely hurt me.
Gotcha. I was on the
Um,
right track earlier with subtypes. There's social, which is like a group kind of extroverted version or subtype. There's self preservation, which you talked about, and then there's one on one. Like I know, I have a friend of mine who's an Enneagram 5, which when you think of an Enneagram 5, you think that's the most introverted number there is. But he's a one on one Enneagram 5, meaning that in social settings, he's not so much his best. Alone and playing defense, he's not so much his best. Where he really thrives is one-on-one interactions, not like social situations, if that makes sense. Whereas
mhm.
you are kind of like naturally thrown into so like one-on-one time for you is probably pretty rare.
It is.
So it's
It's
more that you're
precious.
yeah, more that you're always surrounded by other people. Well,
Yep.
let's get into what some positive things for a minute. What do you really love about being an Enneagram 6, if anything at all?
Um, Hang on, I pull up something here. This is from another resource that I found called the Enneagram Institute. One thing I do love. So I'm we're gonna get in this later, but I do kind of wing 7 as a 6. So
Mm,
like I can have that introverted time like we were talking about, but I love being like a wingman to someone, and like just like the bro, like just I don't have to lead the situation, but I love just being able there to support you and whatnot. So that's one thing I definitely do love. One thing I really hate about being a 6 is the anxiety part.
mm,
Um, like I was referring to earlier about uh, stage managing, is there's it's not every show. It's probably 1 out of 8 shows where I'll get so anxious about a given situation, whether it be, what's Mitchell doing, on stage? Do I need to be on guard, or do I just need to be at the ready for something to hit the fan? And like, I get just so anxious, and I have the biggest goal of getting off stage under 10 minutes, and we have a lot of gear with a little crew to get everything off stage. So like my anxiety is just through the roof, and I overthink the loadout of all that. So that's the biggest thing. Like, quick example: last week, I had anxiety pretty much post sound check until the end of our set and through loadout. So a good 5 to 6 hours of just, I didn't really want to be with people. I chose to be with some people, but they could just tell like what is wrong. Um, and then the show happens, the loadout happens, and everyone's like, "Dude, why were you so worried? Like everything was fine. Like we did such a good job. Why are you beating yourself up about what just went on?" And I'm like, "Well, I just feel like we could have done better," which is a good thing, but it's also because you always want to progress. But
Yeah.
for me, like, it was just anxiety driven the whole time. And I feel like I lost 5 years of my life, and
Yeah.
my heart rate was like sky high the whole time. So yeah, anxiety is my least favorite part about being a
Yeah.
six.
I feel like sixes can either wear that precaution as a badge or
Mhm.
as a weighted blanket that weighs
Yeah.
them down. You know what I mean? As you're
Yeah.
reading, I pulled out kind of her basics for Enneagram 6, and it talks about how your core fear is to be without support. And I think for you, it's not even just that you're without support as much as the thing that you're supposed to be in charge of and the people that you're supposed to be supporting, that you don't want to let them down.
Yep.
You don't want that to be without support. And so there's security in there for you, because if you can support them, then it's security for you. It kind of comes back to
Yes.
you as well. And that your core desire, it says, is to be certain, which kind of conflicts because you're constantly, you're like, I can be 99% certain, but it's probably really rare for you to be 100% certain about anything.
1,000%. Yeah.
I love, well, you talked about what you love, you talked about what you hate, or what frustrates you. Let's get into some rapid fire questions for a second. I
Okay.
think I probably know the answer to some of these because you've already talked about wing, and we're going to get to that in a minute as well. But are you thoughtful or whimsical?
I kind of go both. I wrote some of this down. Let me find my answer here,
Yeah.
because just to kind of help me. Shoot, where is it? Yeah, I definitely wrote both. Thoughtful in the sense of looking out for others, making sure others' needs are met before my own. I know I touched on that earlier. Um, but there's other moments where I will purposely let my guard down and be that whimsical, spontaneous person. I think that's kind of where that question was going
Yeah.
with all that, and just making last minute decisions, whether it be for fun or for business. And usually be very uh, blunt here, that usually the whimsical will come after one or two yummy drinks.
Yeah.
um, and you can ask all my tour mates that, and they would answer 1,000%. Um, and I'll go from being around a 6 or a 7 on the excited scale to a 10 out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Um, and that usually happens once or twice a weekend.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I feel like I kind of go both ways.
Yeah. I think that's a good six answer for sure. Next rapid, are you selfish?
Yes. I
Also,
think I feel so like I always try to look out for others, and champion whatever they're doing. But I think most of us are selfish in some way, shape, or form. Like, you are always kind of looking out to make sure you're doing your best, sometimes at the expense of others' faults,
mm,
uh, which is a bummer. That's almost like a form of like a bully, you
yeah.
know. Um, so yeah, I think I am selfish, but it's not something I can't work on, which I do try to. I do try to put others well before me, but I know there's just times where I'm like, no, screw that. I'm just gonna look out for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I'm going to modify this next question a little bit because I've been asking people what they envy, but then I also realized that envy is not necessarily what Christian Enneagram coaches would call the quote unquote signature sin. And like Christian Enneagram coaches like Jackie or like Beth McCord, who will mention at the end of the podcast, they will say that each Enneagram kind of has like their own signature sin. And it usually kind of falls within those like traditional Catholic seven deadly sins. But like for me, it's envy. For sixes, it's fear. So you can answer the envy one if you want to, but I'm like more interested to know what you fear.
I think I like that better. Uh, I fear letting someone down,
Hmm.
uh, and really like squandering. Yeah, we'll use that word. Like a relationship, or whether it be professional or intimate, if you will. That's my biggest fear, and falling behind. I think again, I use a quick example. So the artist that we're touring, the headliner, his stage manager was not happy with how we loaded out, how we took a while to get off stage. And that was brought to my attention once we packed up our trailers, that he wasn't thrilled. He was very upset that we took a little bit longer and that gear was left out on stage while the headliner was about to go on. So I just beat myself up for 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I have to go find him, and I need to go just talk to him real quick. And I did. And I was like, man, I'm so sorry. That was awful. We'll get better, but I want to apologize. And I gave him a handshake, and he was like, dude, it's okay. He goes, that's going to happen. He goes, we're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep getting faster. And we'll keep getting smarter. He was like, so don't fester on this. Like, you're good. And he's a very intense individual, but he knows, he's very good at like compartmentalizing, like, hey, it's okay, and not being like a complete jerk. So yeah, fear, that's my biggest fear, is letting someone down when I know I could do better. But the plus side of that for me is I can grow on that. I can get better. That mess up of that fear encourages me to be better at insert situation here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, as you were talking, I was looking up your Enneagram lines. If anyone knows anything about the Enneagram, you will line to another number in stress, and you'll line to another number in growth. You'll line to the healthy side of a number in growth, and you'll line to an unhealthy side of another number in stress. And as you're telling me that story, I can see both things play out here, because sixes line to Enneagram nines in growth, and one of the most beautiful parts of nines is they're the first ones to own up to things. They're the first ones to say, I'm the issue, not other people. And so they will go make it, a healthy nine will go make it right, like you did in that situation. Sixes under stress go to threes, though, the unhealthy side of a three, not the healthy side, but the unhealthy side of a three, which is complete emotional shutdown. I've just got to get the job done and get out of here, kind of thing. Right. And so you had two choices to make in that scenario of, I can go make this right, or I can shut down and just get the job done and get out of here.
yeah.
So I hear that a lot in the things that you're saying, the answers that you're giving. So let's see. Last rapid fire. What do you thrive on?
This was a difficult one for me. I thrive on understanding a situation, understanding whatever thing I might be working on. Because I can get very frustrated very quickly if I don't understand. We'll just keep it work related. Am I using this compressor correctly? Am I using this gate correctly? Am I doing or whatever, this microphone? Am I doing this correctly? And then if I'm not, I'll get frustrated at first, but then I'll come back, I'll kind of circle back, come to the understanding, and then be okay with whatever the subject is. That's something that I've battled with since forever. So I thrive on getting
Certainty.
it, understand certainty. Absolutely.
As you're saying, as soon as you started talking, I was like, well, your core desire is to be certain. So that makes that you thrive on certainty.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. All right. So
Certainty,
you talked
affirmation.
already. Yeah, you talked already about your predominant wing. I mentioned every time I bring up wings that wings are like arm or hands, right? Most people, unless there's some deformity or you've had something amputated, you have two hands, and so either left-handed or right-handed, and so you can use both hands, but one of them is a dominant hand over the other. So as you write or you swing a bat or golf club or whatever, you're either right-handed or left-handed. And so it's not that it's not that as a six that you never wing five. It's just you're saying that your predominant wing is seven. How can you tell that?
I think just how I'm the social part, I think, and like sevens are very extroverted. They're very like, let's do this now, let's go do this. They're never like almost content. They just kind of want to dance around and have a good old time. And I find myself wanting to do that more. I don't know if the kids are still saying FOMO, but the FOMO is real with me, especially like post show. So we, after the show's done, the band gets to go hang out on the bus or out in our little area where we'll like we set up chairs and have a nice time. But I'm still working, so I'm just like itching to be done so I can go hang out with them. Then once we're packed up, I'll go do that. 5, not so much. I don't think. There might be times where I'll lean that way, but overall, I mean, like the defender type. Yeah, sometimes, but not all. I 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go wing 7.
Yeah, I see the wing 5 in you because you're a consummate learner, and that's huge for 5. They always have to be learning something, and they thrive on learning. They thrive on educating themselves on something, sometimes for good purposes, and sometimes just so that they can be the smartest person in the room. But
Yeah.
for you, I feel like you're consummate learning of, like, every time we get a chance to hang out, there's a book that you're reading. You're talking about the book you're reading. Like you said earlier, you can get frustrated really quickly because you don't know something, but then you go, this is an opportunity to know something. And so those are the moments where I see you like winging 5 and kind of going like, yeah, I like knowledge. I like
Yeah.
the gain of knowledge. What ways do you feel, if at all, what ways do you feel defective or incomplete as an Enneagram 6?
I mean, it kind of goes back to certainty. I mean, you're never, you never stop. This goes along what you just said. You never stop learning. Like you're always trying to get to the next thing, or just figure out the next thing, or learn just something new. And like you said, I've always been an individual asking questions. I mean, you can talk to my dad. He tells me the story of when I was super little. I mean, I had to have been like 3 or 4, where I just kept asking. It was me, my dad, and my grandpa, his dad, or my dad's dad. And I was just asking a lot of questions. And my grandpa told my dad, he was like, "Man, he asks a lot of questions. I like that." Like he tells me that story all the time. So yeah, just that. Oh, sorry, hit my microphone there. Yeah, just that constant learning. I guess
Yeah,
that's the
I
best
love
way I
that.
can answer it.
So do you feel like that's a defect or makes you incomplete in any way?
I feel like the incomplete part is is sometimes because I feel like I haven't gotten whatever the answer might be.
Mm,
Uh, and that answer may be subjective. It could be different for everyone, and whatever it is, you can insert subject here. Um, yeah, that's kind of the best way I guess I can answer that one.
yeah, no, I feel that. All right, how do you best get along with people? You're surrounded by people all the time. What are the ways that you can best get along with, or that you do best get along with other people? And if other people are around you as a 6, what are the ways that you're like, I like it when people are like this around me, or this super annoys me and I don't want to be around this type of person that constantly does X? How's your interaction with people like?
It's gotten a lot better. I used to be very shy, like would not approach you. You'd have to approach me. Um, but recently, probably within the last year, I've been very intentional of like say we walk into a venue. If we're headlining, if we're not like with the same band every night, um, and we're the first ones into the building, I try to be the first one into the building, even though I'm not the production manager or the tour manager. And I try to be like very intentional of like, hey guys, I'm Nick, stage manager, da, 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 da. Which is very odd for me. And it's still very hard to do. But I just like to break that ice. I hate
Get
just,
it over.
you know, it's someone's like, let's just do it. Let's just get through this. Because as soon
Yeah,
as we break that ice, the rest of the day is going to be better.
yeah,
Um, so I love that. And when I'm around all the people I'm around, like I was saying earlier, I'll usually find those few where I can have deep, meaningful conversations. And those are my favorite people. There's the front of house engineer for the opening band of this tour. His name's Matt. He and I happened to be in catering at the same time on Saturday, and it was at 9:30 when we were both in there, and we went our separate ways about almost noon. and we just kept talking. And I was like, I thrive on this. I get energy from this. Even if we didn't agree on whatever we were talking about, it still was like just great communication. Those are my favorite kinds of interactions with people. Is just, you don't have to agree with me or anything like that. Let's just have constructive conversation that means something. So.
Yeah, I love it. I think we've covered this quite a bit. I'm going to give you an opportunity to just kind of sum it up all together. What's the most important thing to you as an Enneagram 6 in life?
Oof. Most important thing as a 6 in life?
Yeah.
This is the one question I didn't fill out.
I just feel it. Your wing
I'm gonna feel it. We're gonna see how this goes. Man, the most important thing, man. This is so tough. Sorry, I have to cut and splice this one.
You're good. I know we talked a lot about certainty throughout. Would you say that that's the most important thing for you? I mean, a lot of 6s say, security is the most important thing to them. Those are kind of the stereotypical answers. But I think as a mid-aged, kind of getting into that middle-aged adult, I've lived life for a while. I've seen some things. I've done some things. You're growing in the right direction, that you're more under growth than you are under stress. Like what do you find, like at the end of the day, you're like, it's really important to me that happened today, or that I got to blank today?
The certainty for sure. I'm a big checklist guy. I know you are too. So I like knowing that I had a productive day. Like, so that productivity, you can ask Lulu, you could there are days where I feel like if I didn't finish my checklist, like I failed. So there's that fear of that failure. So actually I was told, hey, why don't you shrink that to-do list down? Like, do 5 things instead of the 6. And if you get to the 6th thing, hey, look, you had a better productive day. So yeah, feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. I'm like, I did something. Like, even when I come home on Sundays, I'm a vegetable, as Lulu always says, because I'm off the bus. I'm tired. I had a crazy weekend, and it's just my day to not do anything. Well, I'll be sitting on the couch watching insert motorsport here, and she'll be doing stuff around the house, and I'll be like, should I be doing something? I should be doing something. So I'm kind of going off the rail a little bit, but yeah, just that being productive, being certain that I did what I was supposed to do today. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the most important part for me.
Yeah. I'll throw this out there for free because I'm in this world right now, and I've dabbled in it before, but when it comes to do lists and checklists, I've really gone back to not only my weekly big 3, but now I've gotten into my daily big 3. So, because I'm the same way, I'll have 7 to 12 things on a list of, this is what I'm going to do today. In fact, I carry it around with me in this little journal. These are the 7 to 12 things I'm going to do today. But if I don't get all of them done, for me, it's very easy to be like, well, what a failure. So the top 3, or the big 3, not only of the week but of the day, goes, okay, if nothing else gets done today and only these 3 things get done today, I'll feel like a success. And so those are the daily 3s, and a lot of those tend to kind of go back to building up to the weekly 3. But yeah, I think I agree with that person that told you to narrow it down. Like, just go, hey, top 2 or 3 things that if nothing else gets done today, this has to get done. When you do those, you'll be like, well, at least the big rocks got done today. The little rocks can shift to another day.
Yeah. We've talked about that a lot, where it's like, you don't have to get the whole, like if you're working on a big project, you don't have to get the whole thing done. Just get the little steps done. Just kind of and before you know it, in 3 or 4 days, hey, the project's done.
Project's done.
Yeah. And you're not stressed out.
Yeah, I love it. Is there anything else that we didn't cover about being a 6 that you'd want people to know?
If we need to get away to have some me time, don't be offended. It's not necessarily you that we're trying to get away from, or whatever energy you have, like that might be a little too much for us at that moment. just know, hey, give me an hour to recharge and I'll come back. And
Better.
yeah, just don't be upset if we just have to shut you out for about just a little bit of time.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we can go out and hang now and I'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can give me an hour before we go out, I'll be freaking awesome. And we'll have a lot more fun.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Our lighting director, he and I are very, very close, very good friends. And he's learning that. He's like, what's wrong? I'm like, Tyler, I love you. Just let me go to the back lounge for a second. I'll come back. He's like, okay. He's like a golden retriever. I love him to death. But he's just like, okay, yeah, I'm right here. So, yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. Well, I want to let everybody know just some further resources. We talked about Jackie Brewster. Again, she's enneagramwithjb.com. She's the one that I'm using this resource from and kind of reading off of through these episodes. Her and her husband, Steven, longtime friends and mentors of me and Sarah, my wife. And so definitely check her out. Follow her on Instagram or wherever and check out all of her products on her website, enneagramwithjb.com. As well, Beth McCord, her and her husband have been influential in kind of us really understanding Enneagram, especially when it comes to in relationship with each other. She's super great at that. So Your Enneagram Coach on Instagram, and you can also go to yourenneagramcoach.com. And then if you're just diving into this Enneagram thing and you're trying to figure out what it's all about, the first source I send people to after you kind of take that initial test and really kind of narrow it down is I always send people to this book by Ian Morgan Cron called The Road Back to You. I highly recommend that to really kind of connect to who God has uniquely made you to be. That's what this is all about. This isn't about an Enneagram cult. This isn't about identifying yourself with a number. This is just understanding who God has made you to be and how you can thrive in the world that is around you and the relationship around you. So, yeah, Nick, thanks so much for doing this, man. You made it.
Thanks, man.
You got
it was awesome.
You can go barf now. I love
awesome,
it.
man.
I'm about to record with your wife, who's Enneagram 7. That's going to be fun.
I'm excited. I might have to put my ear to the door and listen to that one.
If it's not fun, I'm going to be disappointed. So just go ahead and tell her.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Just go tell her, like, make it fun.
Yeah, she'll be all right.
Cool. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time on the Winning in Life Without Losing Your Mind podcast.